Yeah, that's gonna be off my new album. I don't know the name of my new album yet. I think I know the title. I don't know yet. The name of that song though is called Midnight Blue. I think it's called Midnight Blue. Ooh. Song is fire, obviously. If you try to say different, you're just a hater. I'm not delusional, right? There's only so much delusion I can handle. If you try to say different, you're just a hater. Now, some people that I'm assuming are members of the Supreme Team, followers, and fans, you try to come up, try to say hurtful things. Yo, this is boring. No, it's not. Stop being immature. Stop being immature. Now, I will tolerate the immaturity from women because they're women. I don't really argue with women. Immaturity from guys, though, it's kind of gay. You buffing a man's manhood. If you have a point to be made, let it be shown with evidence. That's what I do. Right? If I say, Bimmy is not a rat, it's because I have evidence. And you have no evidence. Chances are, I'm not the one who started the conversation in the first place. Because I don't start conversations like that. I don't. I'm an analytical thinker. I sit back, pay attention. You may say something, throw it out there. Everybody catch it. I catch it. Look at it. Yo, this is Fugazi. Throw that shit back. Yo, what you mean this is Fugazi? Now, what you used to is group think. That's what you used to. You used to group think. Everybody, words, son. I hate that shit. By the way, my name is Jamel Saladin. I would love to tell you what my channel was about, but I can't. Because I really just talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. I have a valuable mind. Valuable meaning it's rare. I come from what they call the hood, but I don't just talk in a hood mindset. I don't even just talk in a hood vocabulary and vernacular. It confuses people. It's okay. I'm here to explain it all. I love history. I love sociology. I went to school 4 years. Walked away with a degree. Going to school studying sociology. I love it. A lot of people are cap artists. A lot of people are followers. I'm not either one, so I'm not really popular amongst the masses. That's fine. It's okay. You may catch me talking about history. I just did a new book, started a new book, fiction. I don't even know if there's a black character in this book, the new book that I'm writing. I just do what I want to do. However, I got parallel things going on at the same time. Things that interest me. One of the things that interested me was a story about a gang out of the late 80s, early 90s from Queens, New York. They called the Supreme Team. The leader was originally, allegedly, Kenneth Supreme Mcgriff. If you never heard of him, I don't know what to say. If you're into urban content, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say at all. It's kind of strange. He's sort of a big deal. And so was the members of his gang. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't start talking about him or the members of his gang to go viral. It was just enjoyable digging into the history, because there's a lot of history here. Even down to my new content on Instagram, where I had kicked off a battle between Green Double out of Rochester and G to K out of Brooklyn, right? G to K is related. In this story, if you connect all the dots, it's all connected. It's all connected. That's how my mind works, though. I was about to tell you how it's connected, but then I changed my mind, because some of these content creators, it's like bring your son to fucking work day. These niggas just look at me and then wait to see what I'm gonna do, and then they try to beat me to the punch. I'm not stupid. I just don't care, because they call me a polymath. I'm into so much. My mind is like semi-autistic, where I could be doing this minute and then just like fascinated about the sun, the moon, and the stars the next, and I'll just go on a fucking 3-month binge talking about the fairy dust on the stars. Then I'll just say, oh yeah, where did I leave off with the Supreme Mcgriff story? Yeah, let me get back to that, because I want to do what the fuck I want to do. That's why it's my channel. YouTube is not helping me go viral. You want me to go viral? You hit the like button. Am I counting on that shit? Hell no. Hit the like button, subscribe, whatever, unsubscribe. I don't really give a shit. I'm just up here doing me, if you haven't noticed by now. One thing I noticed, Mcgriff was outside, meaning he was a gangster. She's locked up now. He's doing the life. He'll probably die in jail if things don't change. I don't think they're gonna change. Right? Nas said, if you give me 20 years at fucking 40, nigga, I'm done. He was already 60. He's already, right? So, I don't know. Well, he might have been younger than that, 50 or something like that. But I think his goose is cooked. Either way, I think he's gonna die in prison. Something strange has to happen, pardon or some shit like that. But his nephew's out. He had 6 life sentences, so it is America and it is Earth. Anything is fucking possible. It's crazy. They do got him on. They do got video of the nigga and mad snitches ratting him out. Most of these guys were Spanish. So one of the things that I noticed is that he liked in the past tense to use Spanish guys for the dirty work. And you would never even tell that he was even down with some, or Spanish niggas was down with him, Because when we look at the pictures from back in the days, you don't see him posing with the Spanish crew like that. You hear rumors about people. Puerto Rican Righteous. If his name was just Righteous, you wouldn't even have known he was Puerto Rican. C. Just. His name is Wilfredo Arroyo. So you kind of assume Spanish. However, I'm not assuming too much because I have paperwork that we won't go into all the paperwork today, but we will go over some of it. And they do in this paperwork, because there's a lot of it and I already categorized it and broke it down, so I'm not going to look it up now, but they do talk about how Supreme had, that might be a misquote, so let me rephrase that. It's the strike Supreme had, how the Spanish faction of the Supreme team kind of came about. They do speak about that in this paperwork somewhere. I've read it. To me, it was just interesting. I'm going to use that word. It was interesting because I was like, man, you know, you see the pictures, but you don't really see that many. Give me 1 second. Let me answer this. Hello. All right. Automated calls. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's see here. All right. You don't really see them in the pictures. Now, I'm doing this show because I've taken up new interests, as you guys can see. I'm putting out audiobooks, jazz music, and all this other shit. But people are still hitting me up like, yo, what's up with the story? So I don't really have the patience to do the videos like I was doing them, because either two things, and I fear it's the first thing. YouTube is kind of like hating on your boy, right? And suppressing the content, and or not really suppressing it, just not allowing the people to see it. So I'm not going to do a lot of work for a little pay. However, I'll try to finish this up for you guys, because you guys are having what's that, the app where you talk? You know, you got your forums and stuff that's coming up, and I get the word back, yo, they talking about you in the forum, they talking about the videos you do. So you like the videos, it's just that YouTube is not helping out. Cool. Well, this is what I could do for you. I could kind of do, my lives are dedicated usually to politics and higher thinking, higher learning. They are. But I decided to break the rule just for this. We'll break the rule just for this, because I do believe I'm shadow banned, which is, it's going to have to be okay. It can't be anything else but okay. But I'm bigger than YouTube. I don't think what is for you is for you. Nothing can shut you down. So they could try to shut me down. I just keep getting invited to different platforms. People keep talking about me. So it's written in the stars, baby. They can't stop whatever is in my future. I'm not worried about these cats. Now, let's get back to you guys that's interested in this here content. This is Puerto Rican Righteous. His last name is Penilia. You see him at the top right there. And he's being cross-examined by a guy named Bachedla. I'm just going to start from here, because you guys that follow this story should know and have been following me, so you're familiar with the story up until this point. So, it says, the questions are Bachelor, and the A's are the answers, which is Puerto Rican righteous. And it says, what did it refer to, sir? He says, I said culture was 4. He says, 4? What jammy things, what? Righteous. A jammy, just street slang. I got a jammy. It's like I got a gun. Just street slang. 4 guns, is that correct? No. I say number 4 jammy things. He know what I was talking about. Mr. Bachelor, may I have the stricken, that stricken? He knew what he was talking about. The court says yes, strike that. The question, the culture jammy things means 4. Jammy things you are saying to us is specifically refers to bodies. Is that what he was cut off? I'm not saying that. It could refer to anything you want. In that term he used, he knew what I was saying. Mr. Bachelor says, what did he say after you said culture jammy things? He just went, Puerto Rican righteous says, if that's what it says on paper, yeah. That's what it said on paper. Okay, that's all he said, right? That's what you say. Yeah. Now, let me ask you something. Isn't it the fact that you knew Riley was cooperating against you at the time? That you made a phone call? Puerto Rican righteous says yes. And you knew that Riley was living in the projects, correct? He says no. His sister, I believe. His sister was living in the projects, correct? Yes. And Riley started to cooperate against you within almost as quick as you started to cooperate when you were arrested. Is that fair? Puerto Rican righteous says yes. I cooperated after he cooperated on me. I think we should pause right there because my curiosity is... So let me just kind of like go over how all of this shit started. All of this shit started because I got hold of a 501k agreement. It was Brian Glaze Gibbs' 501k. Brian didn't give it to me. Neither did Bimmy. The 501k, I'm not even going to tell you where it came out of. But neither one of those cats gave it to me. As I'm looking at it, I see a lot of interesting things. A lot of interesting things. But this is Brian Glaze Gibbs' paperwork, so can't help but to see interesting things. So I'm not really looking for anything in particular. I'm a historian. I like to know the stories, the characters. I read Derek Parker's book, the Hip Hop Detective. You understand? I listen to these guys. And Brian Gibbs' 501k, he had brought up Gerald Prince Miller in that document. And it was alleged that Miller had participated in some gang rape in that particular document. I didn't think much of it other than I can't say if it's true or not because this is Brian's testimony. However, I did bring it up and I said, yo, Prince, what's up with this, your name being included in this? What I expected was for him to say, yo, that's crazy. I seen that document floating around. Let me first tell you, first of all, I would never do nothing like that. That's the most craziest thing I've ever, because that is something I would say. Especially if I didn't do it, which I wouldn't do it because that's not how I get down. But you are talking about a different era. So when people jump in my comments like, yo, come on, son, you know how it was back in the days. I don't appreciate their evil spirit, but this is how they was, these people were groomed. You understand? They was groomed into thinking there was nothing wrong with taking a woman's sex because they grew up in these harsh environments. So they're like cold to the fact that anything was even wrong with it. So you got a lot of these guys around because they did participate in it, which means there's a lot of scoundrels out here. You understand? I had a couple scoundrels run down in my inbox. Yo, come on, man. You know how I was. I'm going to know how I was. Do I look like I was running around in the 80s? Nigga, I was in school. Elementary school, to be exact. What are you talking about? Yes, I read the books. So I know very well type of niggas you come from. Because I read the Donald Goines books. And the characters in that book was a fucking terror. So this is how I said, oh man, these 70s niggas is different. Different. These niggas is taking man cheeks and female cheeks in the same breath and wouldn't consider themselves gay at all. They would consider themselves, I punished you, nigga, I funked you. That's how they looking at it. When he didn't answer, I said, Houston, we got a problem. We had a problem. This nigga didn't respond to me like I thought he was going to respond, which was, hell no, I wouldn't do that shit. Brian is a liar. And that was your chance. But he only responded halfway with that. He just said, yo, Brian's a liar. All right. I listen. I continue to listen everywhere. Yo, Brian's a liar. Don't listen to a nigga that ratted. Can't listen to rats. All right. Fuck all that though. When are you going to say you did not do this? That's all I want to hear. That's the only thing I want to hear. To this day, he has not said that, which is disappointing. Right? What the fuck you didn't say you didn't do for? Makes me think you did this shit, blood. In the interim, Brian begins to double down. Because the thing about Brian, he don't give a fuck about you calling him a rat. He has already said, yes, nigga, I'm a rat. Yes, I've done these things. He's accepted his title. They got told on everybody. Shit. Documents is out there. Watch Saladin. He'll tell you the whole story. And I will. Out of Prince's own words, though, as he was trying to out a Jimmy henchman, a Jimmy Roseman henchman, he was trying to out him for telling on everybody. He said, listen, look, y'all. In order for you to cooperate using this 501k, if the government is going to really go through with what they say they're going to do, then you must tell the truth. Because they could tell if you're lying. He said these things. All I did was use his words, which I agreed with. And I said, you're absolutely right about that, Prince. You are absolutely right. That being said, let's go back to Brian Gibbs' 501k. Or 5K1. Let's go back to his document where he's telling all this information with Leslie Caldwell, who was at the time the assistant U.S. attorney. Not a stupid lady. Most of these people, most of those detectives involved in these cases are not stupid. So I feel, being that my logic said this, all right, Brian said this. He said all these things. He's admitted to murders, and he's out on the street. He has a job. He's driving a nice Audi. He's out here wearing motorcycle leather coats. You understand? He's out here doing ministry in the church. I say, yeah, he's outside. Home. Off of murders. Not one murder. What? Murders in the plural. My logic told me, all right, he must have said things that were true for them to have given this type of agreement for a man to commit a lot of murders and be out here in the free world, able to make it to choir rehearsal and prayer. Nah, he what he said must have been true. So Prince is not answering. He is answering, but all he's saying is Brian's a liar and he's a snitch. We know him to be a snitch. I can't say, maybe, I don't know how many times if I caught him telling non-truths outside of the Bimmy thing. He has been saying Bimmy's a snitch. Bimmy been telling. He doesn't know this, right? And if he does know this, then I would like proof of his statement saying, yo, Bimmy said, okay, why are you saying Bimmy's a snitch? Why are you saying? Because you heard it? Guess what niggas also said? Niggas also said Just was a snitch. I didn't believe that, Paul. He helped me get my first GSXR. I didn't believe that, Paul. My point is, niggas said a lot of niggas was snitching, bro. Do not listen to niggas. Streets is a dirty game. Nigga throw the ball that way so you could look that way. Meanwhile, he's the one the whole time. You understand? So I say, all right, I'm open to all the conversations. I'm open to Bimmy being a snitch if you could tell me how. Niggas came at me. Well, you signed a statement. A statement is not snitching. Statement is a statement. Especially if a statement is helping the nigga in the street. It's really not a statement then. If the cops is after someone, let's slow this all the way the fuck down. Because I'm tired of niggas thinking because you're in a gang and you wear urban clothes and you don't know how to speak the King's English, you listen to rap music and you smoke blunts, that you're more thorough than me. You could be. I doubt it. Based off that description alone, that wouldn't make you more thorough than me. You could be more thorough than me, though. Doesn't mean you understand street shit more than me. I can guarantee you that. And it definitely don't mean that you understand the way of the laws of the land more than me. The problem is a lot of you niggas know how to act the part. I'm going to tell you something. Sidebar. I lived the part for several fucking years. So I don't feel the need to get up here and act the part. Let me sidebar into another sidebar. Harlem Legend, I heard, is now doing episodes of when he was in Harlem making $100,000 off a bench. And I want to use him as an example. These are niggas that have to act like they did something. I don't have to do none of that shit. I'm written in the fucking books, nigga. They can't unsketch my name from what I cooperated in. They can't do it. So my town is small. Fucking 4 square miles. If you go to my town, they can't say I wasn't or I didn't. It already happened. They could say I'm a nerd. They could say that. Because I am a nerd. But for a nigga to get up here and tell you he made 100,000 off the bench and all this, nigga, how you look at yourself in the mirror pretending to be something? You was supposed to do this shit when you was young and you missed it. Now you out here close to 50 acting like you was a gangster. That shit is bozo shit to me on sidebar. Bow! Now we are up one sidebar to me telling you I was already there. I don't have to act like anything. Let's close that sidebar. Pow. You niggas with your filthy interpretations and definitions of shit, and you be dead wrong. Had a nigga tell me, yo, an affidavit is when you changing your statement. This is my man, too. I said, what the fuck is you talking about, bro? Yo, trust me, bro. Big Crip nigga, right? Come on, bro. Fuck is you doing, bro? You getting me mad, bro. Affidavit is not when you change your statement. Yo, I'm telling you, bro, that's what affidavit is. And this is the problem. This is the problem. They done opened up YouTube to niggas like you. Get up here, say anything. You've been listening to Zip with the Drip. That's the fucking problem. Hit the like button, too. Zip and get up here, say whatever. He's entertaining. Watch him from time to time. But he's poisonous. Because he does have an audience. Niggas gassing him, huh? Even I started with a Zip. Let's get to that. You know, the thing about it is, in my opinion, he needs a job. So he's not so desperate to do content. When you only rely on YouTube money to get past, you might be liable to get up here and say anything. You understand? Nigga got the dope fiend shit sounding, you know, shit sound official. Come? Shit sound official sometimes. Understand? I get it. But none of those antics would make you niggas right. Either you're right or you're wrong, and you're wrong. So the one thing I couldn't understand is, if you knew that Big Nose Troy was out here not giving a fuck, him and E-Money Bags running around not giving a fuck, huh? Niggas is worrisome. That's what my father used to call him. You boy, you worrisome. These niggas was worrisome. And you signed a statement to say, no, Big Nose Troy wasn't at the park. I was at the park. Big Nose Troy wasn't there. I didn't see him. How the fuck is that snitching? Yeah, but you signed a, he signed a affidavit. No street nigga neither. Shut the fuck up, bro. Niggas is just talking, man. You're just talking. You're just talking. Because a statement is a statement is a statement is a statement. Nigga, if you get pulled in, if you get anything, question, and you don't immediately say, I want to talk to my lawyer, niggas might say, yo, you're not even under arrest. I want to talk to my lawyer. Yo, bro, we're just asking you a question. If you say anything, nigga, I'm talking about anything. Yo, what color was the sky the last time you seen it? It was blue. That's a fucking statement. Did you snitch? It be the petty crime niggas too that get on my nerves the worst. Petty crime niggas. Niggas out here doing petty shit and out here representing it to the full. Yo, I don't talk to pro snitch. Nigga, you ain't doing nothing to even be in that situation. Knock it off. Knock it off. You not with no official niggas. There's no binoculars on you. Nobody knows your name, man. Knock it off. You sell a O a fucking week, my nigga. You sell one O a weed a week. And you work overtime. Now you up here giving criminal advice. Last time I took criminal advice from a fucking criminal. Last time I took lawyer advice from a criminal, I got reprimanded. You know what that fuck that means? Good for you, because I didn't when I listened to this nigga and the judge told me reprimanded. Bow! Wait. What does that mean? Somebody get Pee-wee from the bullpen. Yo, Pee-wee! What that shit mean? You go to jail, nigga? Fuck! Listen to you bullpen jailhouse lawyer talking ass niggas. Fuck out of here. But here's the thing. Even a jailhouse lawyer wouldn't tell you no shit like that. Like, yo, sign an affidavit, you snitch. Doesn't mean that. Let's unsidebar. I guess I went into that rant because Puerto Rican writer says, yes, I cooperated after he cooperated on me. This is the part that got me confused. Because I thought, from what Brian says, in Puerto Rican Righteous, I know you watch, so you are more than welcome for us to have a discussion. If you feel something was taken out of context, that wasn't said, I'm willing to talk. I know you have been watching the episodes. However, if you did tell, because allegedly, from what Brian said, Prince violated your wife, and you were that was the storyline. When I heard that storyline, and I heard Prince not respond to this, I said, oh man, this could be true. No, I didn't get all China Brim and start saying the nigga was jumping trees and all of that. By the way, China, he's very upset at you. You gotta chill, my boy. Well, I know you niggas got that letter, cease and desist. You niggas chilled out. Think YouTube had you on punishment for a couple of weeks. You're back, but you gotta chill, my boy. You understand? You can't be saying reckless things, because niggas will be in the right to say, yo, he's saying this about me, and none of that is. Gotta pay attention. But even I felt like, yo, Brian might be onto something right here. And it wasn't one girl. If it was one girl, which everybody was focusing on Brian's ex-girlfriend at the time. And he has a book out. I forgot the name of the book. But Brian has a book. I'll get the name of it before. So everybody was focused on, Brian's ex-girlfriend. It was trying to see, like, you could just be upset. You could have got the girl to set all this shit, Brian. You understand? Because he is a Brooklyn nigga. Brooklyn niggas they could get foul. Trust me. It was alluding to, you could have put the girl up to that. However, a couple of things made me think it wasn't just one girl. If it was one girl, listen, y'all, I'm a fan of Sherlock Holmes. I am. I'm a nerd like that. I be out here reading fucking Sherlock Holmes novels, nigga. Facts. He was one of the greatest. I don't know if he ever existed, but the way they tell his story, it's like, damn, this nigga is bad. So he inspires me, Sherlock Holmes. You understand? I'm paying attention to shit. So I said, all right, if it was one girl, that's not enough. Especially given the fact that she was Brian's ex-girlfriend. You guys are absolutely right. He could have put her up to this shit. Kind of reminds me of Big Meech and Tammy. Tammy Cowan? Is that her last name? That's neither here nor there. He could have put up to this. But it was more than one, which made me more disappointed. Because it was like 3 chicks. I was like, God damn, nigga. 3 chicks? How can I explain yourself out of this for you, Prince? I can't. 1 chick. I can say, yo, listen, y'all, that don't got to be true, and the chick is not coming forward. 3 chicks is kind of crazy. But they said Puerto Rican Righteous told because of his wife got violated. However, reading the paperwork, just keeping it 1,000, Puerto Rican Righteous says, I cooperated after a guy named Herman Riley snitch. Now, we're going to get to Mr. Riley because, in my opinion, if you've been following this story, there was no need for Mr. Riley to have been with a stone cold street nigga like Puerto Rican Righteous. Puerto Rican Righteous was not something like he was the real fucking deal, bro. That's the best way. He was the real. When it comes to street niggas, real fucking deal. Not like pretend I'm in the streets and no, he's in the streets full time, thinking, behaving like a street guy. Not just a street guy, a criminal. There's a difference between a street person and a fucking stone cold criminal in the streets. He's the latter. Anytime you refer to killing people as getting money, yeah, it's like that's how he got his money. This nigga was an assassin. Why he had this dude that wanted to be down. Now here's the thing. I've been there. Not as Puerto Rican Righteous, but as Riley. There was a Jamaican dude. Lived next door to me when I was young. Used to get all the chicks. Fly nigga. You understand? I've spoken about him before. So there's no need for me to re-mention his name. He disappeared for a while. When he came back, my man was like, yo, I just seen homeboy at the Jamaican store. I was like, word, he's back? It's like, yeah, he doing real good too. I go up there. Now, at this time, I'm in the street doing my 1-2. I'm a stick-up kid at this time. You understand? Word is traveling. I never understand it, how some other niggas would know how your work and shit like that. But niggas is starting this, yo, heard about your work. You heard about my work. What? It's crazy. It's fucking nuts. But that's what really be happening in the underworld. You understand? If you don't do it alone. If you do it with niggas, you start hearing niggas will start talking. That shit will travel. So I'm kind of feeling myself at this time. But I'm really with an organized outfit. Meaning it's organized. That's what I would say. When I run into this guy here, I say, yo, you getting money, my G. I want to get with you. I want to get some money. I did the same shit Riley did. Here's the difference. He said, yo, I'm going to just let you know straight off the tip. I'm murdering everything in sight. Right off the top, he's letting me know, yo, If you come in, you can come, but I'm gonna let you know right now, bro. I'm shooting first. I'm not no fucking questions. I shoot first. That's how I get down, bro. I was not a stick-up kid that shot first. Needless to say, I'm here on YouTube with you now. The way he was talking, I said, yo, I'm not used to that type of outfit. Whatever the fuck they got going on, the nigga's getting money. Jules fucking, he had the new Lexus at the time. He's getting money, but he's keeping it real with me too, and he's letting me know how I'm doing it. So he said, yo, this is when I pull out. If you here, I don't mind you coming. You understand? But you're gonna earn your keep. If you're not here, then you know what I'm saying. I get what it is. No, I wasn't there. Say, oh, y'all niggas is doing what first? You shooting first? I've seen people go down because they had people on the team that wasn't qualified to really be on the team. I've seen it. Niggas go down. I've seen it with my own eyes. That's all I'll say on that. Now, if you was following this story, Riley asked to go with Puerto Rican Righteous after Puerto Rican Righteous told him, yeah, I'm about to go murder some nigga. He told him that. I'm here tonight to murder somebody. I'm not here for fucking shenanigans and to be out here bullshitting with you. Riley says, yo, let me go with you, watch your back. I guess he thought it was some cool shit to say, and that he knew probably, you're not going to find this nigga. I have it under good authority. He's in the Catskills right now. You understand? On a bus trip. Maybe he knew something where he felt like, yeah, let me go with you. Maybe he felt it was safe. Y'all heard the clips in the beginning of the video. You understand? Puerto Rican Righteous gives him a gun. I think he gave him a fucking 357 or some silly shit like that. It was something crazy. Or 38. They get caught. We may go over all of this again because he's going to get questioned twice. So not only did he get questions in the videos before this, but he's going to get questioned again by another lawyer. Well, cross-examine him. Anyway, long story short, it's like 2 a.m. Puerto Rican Righteous is looking for somebody to kill. He got bitch ass Riley with him that apparently is not ready for this type of action. He knew that. But you want to fuck around with niggas who dedicated their life to crime thinking it's a joke. It's not a rap song, my man. This nigga don't even know rap songs. You understand? This is his real fucking life. He's a degenerate from 14 years old. There's nothing rhythmic about this shit. It's nothing entertaining. He came to take life. Tonight, he's the Grim Reaper. You said, can I tag along? Whatever, nigga. I'm out here smoking woolies. Whatever. You taking a life advice from a nigga who smoke woolies, man. Whatever, man. Puerto Rican Righteous should have never said yes. That's my point. Should have never said yes to some nigga that wasn't putting in his work. Did you hear anything about this nigga putting in the work? Was it strange to you? They get caught because the jump out boys who get paid a salary from the state. You understand? Police department. They got jobs, as they should. They get paid to do what they do. They try to come really good at it. The federal government give them funding to give all type of gadgets and special binoculars. see niggas, pay niggas to sit in the car all night and watch you and see what's going down. Yeah. So they have no idea the Jump Out Boys is watching. 2 in the morning, these niggas is walking around with ratchets ready to kill. One is ready to kill. The other nigga is just taking life for joke. They run down on him. You know Righteous do. What Righteous do, he backs out the hammer immediately. Sees that some white boys know what time it is. Push the shit back in his pocket. By then it's too late. Now he said, yes, I cooperated after he cooperated on me. If that is true, then what did you cooperate? Who did you tell on? Did you tell on Prince right away? Because that means it has nothing to do with Prince violating your wife. However, we are not out the woods. Because as a student of Sherlock Holmes, I say maybe, if this is true, I don't know. But if it was true that he did violate your wife, it would make sense that he thought you wasn't coming home. Because I've asked myself, why would you do this to a killer's wife? Why would you do that to a killer? It's not like Puerto Rican Righteous was a bitch ass nigga. I don't say that without knowing nothing about him. I don't know him. But from what I know about him, reading the paperwork, stories from jail, the stories I hear of him in Sing Sing, for the people that was there, nobody has told me yet, yeah, this nigga was a bitch ass nigga up north. No, he actually got into a fight with Terminator. Niggas know Terminator was giving it up. I've never heard he was a bitch ass nigga ever. So you know this nigga's a killer. Bona fide. And if it is true that you violated his wife, the only thing I could think about is you thought he was never coming home. He's done for. Let me do what I do. Right? At the time, you probably think I'd put a bag on a nigga's head, take him out of here. Fuck is he talking about? Violating your wife. Could have happened. I don't know what he told on yet, but let's get into this. But he said he cooperated. Just in case you may be hard of seeing. Yes, I cooperated after he cooperated on me. Okay. He gave a videotape statement about that. Did your lawyer tell you? Yes. And were you interested in where Riley's sister and what Riley was doing when you were making this conversation? Yes. Were you interested in Philip Williams? He bring up Philip Williams, I believe. He brought up Williams. Were you interested in him? What you mean interested? Were you afraid that Philip Williams would cooperate against you? I don't know. I didn't worry about Philip Williams for that. Okay, he said he didn't worry about him for that. You didn't worry about Philip Williams? No. But the one person we know that you did worry about during that conversation was Riley, correct? I mentioned Riley just to get into a conversation. Yes. to sort of lead Mr. Arroyo on, correct? Let's just stop right there. The only Mr. Arroyo, not that there's more than one Mr. Arroyo in the world, definitely more than one in New York. But there is another Arroyo in the Supreme Team, Wilfredo. C. Just's name is Wilfredo Arroyo. So the cross-examiner's question, I don't get it fully, but apparently Puerto Rican Righteous got what he was saying. So he said to sort of lead Mr. Arroyo on, correct? Puerto Rican Righteous says no, just to talk like freely, like he would talk. Question. Now, let me ask you one other question. How much money has the federal government and everybody paid to you or given as a benefit to you before you came here and testified? Me? Me personally? Expended on you. What do you mean expended? Like put in my commissary? Brought me clothes? No, just moving you around and doing all this kinds of stuff. How would I know that? They never told you that? No. How would I know that? Expend on me? Yes. They ain't giving me nothing. Okay. Who did they give it to? They didn't give me no money. You don't know that? That any amount, you have no knowledge of the amount of money that has been spent on relocating you or anything else like that? It's not my business. Did they give money to your family? They moved my family, yes. Did they give money to your family? In certain cases, yes. How much? I don't know what they gave my brother to move. I know my wife, they gave my wife $5,000 one time to move. Stop. When I heard his wife, I immediately said, okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Because it's not that I wanted this to be true, but is there evidence of this or not? Did he say something? Now, Puerto Rican Righteous is alive, so he could call me and be like, yo, let me tell the story. You're fucking it up, Saludine. This is what happened. We don't know if that's what happened yet. He may want to stay out the way. You understand me? I don't know if his wife, if they're still together, if she, you know what I'm saying? But what I know is it could trigger some shit. So she may just be trying to work a regular life, not really. If it did happen, who the fuck want to relive that? That's what I'm saying. However, she may say, no, fuck that. He's doing he's doing God's work. I'll tell him what he wants to know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. But the wheels started to turn around here, so I said, okay, they gave your wife money. You telling? Let's keep on reading because there's some more information that you guys need to really have before we get into that conversation the way I want to get into it. So let's keep going. Cross-examiner. Okay, and did they give your wife living expenses too? He says no. And they give your brother living expenses? I don't know. They took care of them. Yeah, they was in the program. Okay. They are still in the program, correct? Yeah. Okay, let me ask you. You don't have a clue as to how much money that was? Is that fair? No. Do you believe there is any connection whatsoever between your testifying here and the monies that was expended on you? Do you believe there is any connection? Puerto Rican righteous. I made a promise. I made an agreement with them. They supposed to take care of my family so they don't get killed or nothing. Let me ask you this about that agreement that you made. This is the same kind of agreement that you have made with other people in the past, is it not? What you mean? What kind of agreement I made? Probation people, parole people. No. How could it be the same type of agreement? Cross-examiner. Because it's one sincere agreement and the other is an insincere agreement. Is that right? Puerto Rican righteous. When you sign a paper, parole officer, you're going out the building, you want to go home. It ain't like it mean anything to me. I want y'all to keep that into consideration right there. Right? Because there's a lot I'm paying attention to. So when I said to you before, I don't think he was necessarily telling just to go home. It doesn't mean that he didn't necessarily want to go home at some point. Right? Depends what they had him on. I don't even know if they had him on some bodies. What can Riley really tell him? They didn't. I don't know what they did yet, right? So we don't know if he's facing life. I guess all of that's going to come out. But there were certain things that he said that make it was so nonchalant. It was like, I don't know if this nigga's like doing it because he's antsy to get home. He could be doing this shit to really get at Prince. I don't know yet. Anyway, if what Brian Glaze Gibbs said is true, this would have to have happened before his wife was in witness protection, because apparently she went into witness protection. Which confuses things even more. If you started talking immediately when you was arrested, how could anybody violating your wife be the reason that you told? Or was it the reason that you told on Prince, which is two separate things? You understand? This is how clear you have to be when analyzing the paperwork. You can't be like half off fucking some K2 trying to analyze shit. Yeah, but the nigga told son, the niggas. Alright, that's not what we talking about. We trying to get into this topic with much more granular analyzation. He told immediately out of his own mouth. Riley was in there talking to Malame. He, word, that's what we doing. This nigga stole some potatoes out of the fucking food town on the way there. Word, wallahi. He probably still got him in his jacket. Check his jacket. Shake down this nigga's jacket. All type of potatoes fall out. Oh, this nigga's a potato thief. But it doesn't mean that he started snitching on Preem right away. Not Preem, Prince. Doesn't mean, or both. Doesn't mean he started snitching on these niggas right away. What we want to know is, was there something that prompted you to start necessarily telling on Prince and everybody else. He says, what you mean that I want to go home? I never told them I want to walk straight out of jail. They never asked me to walk straight out of jail. I asked you a question. When you signed that agreement, did you want to go home? I told them after I do some time, of course I want to go home. So he did want to go home. Is there any indication in any of these promises that you told them that you wanted to do sometime? They told me, you have to do some time because your crime record. Said yes. I have no problem with paying for some of the things I did. As you sit here right now, 3 years later, that's another detail that we can write down. Okay? 3 years later. You never even have been sentenced to any one of those charges. That's some more information that we have to take in consideration. This nigga's in jail 3 years. They holding up the process. It don't look like he gives a fuck whether he stays, he goes, as long as his family is protected. You understand? That's how he's on it. Just protect my wife and my children. He understands clearly the life he has chosen. And let's just do a sidebar right now. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to... Y'all don't mind if I do a sidebar, right? I got to do a sidebar. I believe we in the black culture should not be putting pressure on other black males to live up to some bullshit hype that is being marketed by Caucasian people. And we don't know what nation, because Caucasians come from many different nations. But what we do know is they Caucasian. They don't have the same interests. So it makes all Caucasians look skeptical, like, this nigga's trying to use this. And that ain't necessarily the case. But it is somebody that's motherfucking Caucasian that don't mind exploiting black people, marketing the toxicity and the negativity that comes from being impoverished. This is fucking pain. This shit comes from, you had to live this shit, right? It produces the type of individuals we're talking about right now. Today, hip-hop started over 50 years ago. Today, there are requisites to be a rapper, so to say, right? Right off the bat, you a backpack rapper. They like, yeah, that's that backpack rap shit, though. I don't listen to that. What do you listen to? Listen to rap, nigga, like real rap. You just say what's on your mind. You like listening to the negative fucking poetry. Nah, that's for the real niggas. You know what I'm saying? Street shit. What are you talking about, my nigga? Have you even listened to the first raps that was really being put out there? Huh? Before the message. Fuck the message, but not fuck the message. Melly Mel. Shout out to Melly Mel. I'll never say fuck the message in that context. I love that song. But that was, to me, the first official street song. And he wasn't even... If you listen to the song, he's not bigging. He's not trying to tell you, yo, I get out here and drop down. But no, he's telling you the reality. Niggas, yo, that nigga right there got locked up and went up north and they turned that nigga into a faggot. Straight noise, straight music. Now he's undercover faggot. So don't push me, cause nigga, I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. He gotta laugh just from stop crying. But none of this shit was about the shit it's about today. It was about lyrical skill. So, today we got some people who could really, really rap, and they just so happen to live that life. And then you have some niggas that they can put some words together, but they definitely live that life. Let's keep it 1,000. Al definitely lived that fucking life. There's no taking that away from him. This is not a contest. Is he a phenomenal lyricist? No. Has his story helped him get notoriety? Yes. Why? Because marketing the pain from the ghetto is a $1 billion business for white people, and then they give all the rest, the black and the poor whites and the fucking poor Spanish niggas, the crumbs. And guess what? If that's better than what we've been eating, a lot of niggas will take it. Yo, I take it. So the entire format and structure of hip hop has taken a turn because greedy ass fucking Caucasians got involved, and they've been taking that shit to the bank, Jack. These niggas live a life of luxury. You don't even know their names. Because we don't understand yet that we are the answer. Right? The same way y'all can create a group think frequency where it's like, nah, nobody fuck with snitches. Oh, ain't nobody fuck with snitches. Why y'all can't do that for one day and say, don't nobody buy shit for one day? Fuck Nike. Fuck Pumas. We ain't buying shit for one day. We ain't streaming shit for one day. Just to show these niggas our power. Just to show you our fucking power. We just want to know you, let you know we not stupid. So for this day, today, nobody stream a motherfucking thing. We humming. They ain't gonna want to. They not gonna want to release the information. They not gonna be happy. But guess what? Somebody's gonna release that shit. The reason they won't want to release it is because they would never want you to know how much power you really hold. Now, getting back to them having the power to market certain shit has created a artificial stereotype character of the black and Spanish men of the ghettos. Like, everybody got to be some fucking. Because I got a baseball cap on don't mean I'm a killer or sell drugs. I talk the vernacular because this is from my environment. Yeah, I talk that. Nigga Zip is out here telling niggas, yeah, but he's not a street nigga. You're not a street nigga, Zip, with the drip. Let's get to that. You did too much time to put your time in the street against my time in the street. You don't even, if I was to tell my story, you don't have enough stories to cover my first fucking half an hour of stories in the street, nigga. Why? You was in the box the whole time. Knock it off, nigga. Knock it off. Wallahi. Respectfully, as Zip would say. Respectfully. You did some bozo crimes. You got caught. Did some bozo crimes with some bozo niggas. I get it, man. I'm sorry my story's not the same. I was never with no bozo niggas. My big homies had fucking wallahi on my daughter's life. Them niggas are pulling up with tractor trailers a week. You don't know a nigga. Let me repeat. You don't know a nigga that was pulling up with tractor trailers of anything. Of foam. You don't know a nigga. But I get it. It's YouTube. You gotta have a story to tell. I get it, my nigga. Get money. But I just want you to know the reality is the real reality. You wasn't outside long enough, nigga. But I see what they do with They're doing with YouTube what they did with the music industry. They're changing the black male into who they want the black male to be. They're using their platform to do that. The same way they used radio and video, right? And when somebody with a good skill set for poetry put these words over beats, they was interested in doing the album, and I gotta get a record deal. But when they went down to the record label, they said, do you have a story? What kind of silly shit is that, nigga? Are you listening to him? Can he rap? Yeah, but he doesn't have a story behind him. This is the type of thinking from the Caucasian beast. That should have told you right then and there. He's trying to use you. This is no different from you arriving from the west coast of Africa to the New World, and them niggas putting you on a platform. Imagine that. It's still a platform. Whether you're butt naked, they threw some powder on you. Get up on the platform. So these niggas turn around, let them see your glutes. I don't know if he's gonna try to work you or your glutes, but you getting sold today, nigga. So when I tell you that slavery never fucking ended, please believe me. They just changed the channel in which it would be exhibited. You're no longer under the hot sun. Who's this? They just changed. These niggas is smart, y'all. Once they figured out they was gonna borrow money from the central bank, you understand, to subsidize private prisons. Listen to me. Stop listening to the dun-dun-dun niggas. These niggas is dun-dun-dun niggas that you listening to. I usually stay out the way. If you like it, I love it. You want to spend all your time listening to dun-dun-dun niggas? Have at it. Have at it. These niggas don't know what time it is. They could borrow money from the central bank via the Federal Reserve, subsidize private prisons. You had private prisons on the stock market. Question: how could you put something on the stock market, because you got investors, without promising an ROI? Do you know what an ROI? God damn it, don't you ever listen to me without having a pen and pencil ready to learn some shit. Fuck, I look like somebody that's just gonna talk stupid shit to you for 2-3 hours? Yeah, right. Return on investment, nigga. How do you promise that you're gonna fill a jail? How can you promise that? No, we're gonna fill a jail. It's gonna make a lot of money. Unless it's not a total sabotage and people are in cahoots to fill those goddamn jails. Now, once you see this, you got to be on point. Meaning, you got to be ready to pull. There's a book by Sam Greenlee. It's called The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Right? Now, the reason that Zip with the Drip is running around saying, yeah, but Southeast not a street nigga. He's not a street nigga. He's a jail nigga, which is totally different. Jail is when you get busted for a crime you caught, or they throw some shit on you and throw you in the slave. It's a slavery system is what it is. I try my best to stay out of that motherfucker. But one thing I realized when I was out there, I said, this is so easy. These niggas get bagged every time they come home. Spook who sat by the door. No long braids, no loud music, no tattoos, dress up. Don't get the same car that dope boys drive. And you'll be surprised how much that accomplishes a lot. It don't accomplish everything because they got fucking wiretaps and all this other. They got snitches, but it definitely turns shit down a lot. It's not that hard. But when you trying to be, you want to look like, for some reason you need to feel like, yo, I'm a street nigga. I want everybody to know I'm a street nigga. And you start doing exactly the shit that somebody that they looking for. You know they showed a picture of a nigga that look like you. Half braided hair, tattoos. Nigga, your wardrobe consists of tank tops every day. Yeah, they looking for you, nigga. Why would I just like you? In my closing of this particular rant, what I would like and prefer us to do is give the other black boys in our ghettos a fucking chance, please. Because as we can see from reading this paperwork, everybody's not meant to be down, but everybody want to feel like somebody. Everybody want to feel special. So if they in the ghetto and nobody recognizes them until they put in some fucking work, that don't mean they really ready for this shit or they even deserve. Man, be a real nigga. Puerto Rican righteous, he should have recognized, nigga, this ain't you. Right? You cannot come with me. I just told you I'm coming out to murder niggas. Hand before God before I go to sleep. Somebody will be dead and I'm okay with that. Because this is what I do. But you understand? We from the same environment. But all of this shit, all this pressure that the rap industry and the marketing industries and the PR firms, they want to market black men as some type of fucking vigilante or faggots. Either one. They either want us to be stupid, ignorant thugs or homosexuals. And I'm not with either one, god damn it. Now let's get back to my show. Puerto Rican Righteous said, they told me, you have to do some time because of your crime record. Said, yes, I have no problem with paying for some of the things I did. As you said, here right now, 3 years later, you never even have been sentenced on any of those charges? Puerto Rican Righteous says, but I've been in jail 3.5 years, sir. In the words of Zip with the Drip, ¿Cómo? Or should I say in the words of Hassan? Who started that? You niggas is crazy. Was it Hassan or Zip? ¿Cómo? Three and a half years. Alright. Before I go on, I just want to remind you. He said he started telling right away, but did he start telling on Riley or did he start telling on Prince right away? Because he was in there for 3.5 years. When did he decide to really start working with the FBI? He didn't get arrested by the FBI. He got arrested by some jump out boys. At some point, Leslie Caldwell gets involved. FBI gets involved. I need that answer. Question, but you've never been sentenced, have you? No, I didn't plead guilty yet. Thank you. The court says, all right, gentlemen. Mr. Catowitz. Mr. Catowitz says yes. And now, I believe we go from Batchelor to a new cross-examination or cross-examiner by Mr. Catowitz. Mr. Catowitz, I will just be a second. The court says, take your time. Mr. Catowitz says, sir, continuing just briefly, something Mr. Batchelor offered you. asked you. You are a predicate felon. Is that correct? This answer blew me away. I really hope Puerto Rican Righteous does come on the show. I really do. Really do. Because this fucking answer right here was like, nah, nigga got true knowledge of self. He's like, he said persistent, violent felon. Oh! This nigga got knowledge of self. He corrected you, sir. I don't know what you talk about, the predicate felon. I'm a persistent, violent felon, man. Get it right, man. There's no fucking jokes. Who's the comedian? Tracy Morgan. He said, "Yo, I'm from Brooklyn, man. There's nothing funny about me, man." Niggas start naming wild kid. I know Killer Ben, K-Son. I grew up with all them years. There's nothing funny about me, man. Yeah, he put that straight. Yeah. This predicate felon nonsense, yo. I'm a persistent, violent felon, nigga. What's up? What you wanna do after court? Nothing. Mr. Cataway says, all right. And then that nigga felt that answer in his fucking bones. That shit rattled in his fucking suit. Nigga said, all right. In any event, if you were to plead guilty to a felon now in state court, certain classes of felony, your minimum number has got to be 1/2 of the maximum. Like 8 to 16. Is that correct? Yes, exactly. Yes. All right. Now, the agreement that you have with the Queens District Attorney's Office, all right, that cuts off. He says that is in force, in effect right now, correct? He says, could you rephrase that? He says the agreement that you have with the Queens DA's office is in force, in effect right now. As far as you're concerned, you're taking a plea that will get you 8 to 16. Is that correct? Puerto Rican Righteous says, yes, I hope so. The new cross-examiner says you hope so. But in fact, since you haven't pled guilty, there is always the possibility after this proceeding of that agreement or your attorney going in and attempting to renegotiate that agreement. Is that correct? Called him out on it. Puerto Rican Righteous tries to fix the shit. Renegotiate? He probably said the shit with the crazy Puerto Rican accent like he just came up. Renegotiate? No, Bobby. Like, knock it off, bro. You wasn't talking like that before. To ask for lesser time? Maybe, yes. He called you out. How can you get lesser time if you're pleading guilty to an 8 to 16 and that's promised to you when you pled guilty? How are you going to get less? He's trying to trip him up now. Nobody even said that's what Puerto Rican Righteous was trying to do. Puerto Rican Righteous says, I'm not pleading guilty to an 8 to 16. I'm pleading guilty to a maximum I receive is 8 to 16. Cross-examiner says, what would the minimum be? Puerto Rican Righteous says, I'm not walking out of jail. I'll tell you that. Cross-examiner says, no, we know that. But I'm saying, could you get a 4 to 8, right? Righteous says, I don't think it's likely. Let's just talk about hypothetically. For example, a 4-8, right? That's when your girl, Miss Caldwell, has stepped in. Objection, Your Honor. Karowitz tries to sneak in a 5-10. Court steps in. Sustain. Mr. Karowitz, something has to come up that's going to require just a brief, unscheduled interruption, rather than I know you're just getting into it, rather than interrupt you once you get into it. Maybe we will do that right now if I can impose upon everyone for a short recess. Don't discuss the case. Then they took recess. The following occurred in the absence of the jury. The court. All right. I'm sorry for that interruption. Mr. Katowitz, feel free to take it from the top, as they say. So, Mr. Katowitz continues. I will just continue from there. Thank you, Judge. Judge says, all right. The witness, please. Witness present, court all right, the jury please. Continue to the next page. The court be seated. I'm sorry for that interruption. Cross-examiner Karowitz. Mr. Penalia, that is Puerto Rican righteous. Would it be fair to say that the agreement with the Queens District Attorney's Office is not yet complete? Correct? Righteous, I believe so. Because you haven't pled. Is that right? I haven't pled. Would it be fair to say that there is always the possibility after all proceedings are concluded that the agreement could be renegotiated to give you less time, a smaller minimum? Righteous says yes. Now, since November of '89, you have been in custody. Is that correct? Stop. Let's do the mathematics on that. Break out your calculators. Let's see what's going on. So far, we know he's been down for fucking 3 years. Three and a half years. But he's been in custody. It's 89, all right. 89, 90, 91, 92. 92 and a half. All right. He says yes in November. Remember that, because different months are going to come up. I don't want us to get confused, right? So whoever's keeping record, keep record. I see the comments. I have not looked at the comments because it's going to throw me off my game. So at some point, I will take a break just to listen to some jazz music and probably get something to drink. And then I might go over your comments. You understand? Salute to everybody that's getting involved. You're leaving a comment. Sometimes you get people who support you and what you're doing. Sometimes you don't. I don't need nobody to throw me off my game. You understand? You get haters over here. Them niggas is out here buffing somebody else's meat and all that. I don't need to read you in the comment section. You don't even have to fucking watch me, bro. But we'll get to the comment section at some point. So, he says he's been down since 89. November. In whose custody? They ask whose custodies. Are you doing federal time or are you doing state time? Righteous says I'm doing state time. You can't be doing federal time because there are no federal charges against you, right? He says yes. I'm assuming he's bringing this up to show that you could just be saying this shit because the feds want a case so bad against the Supreme team This is just me. And by the way, some of you guys, not a lot of you here. Yo, I could have done without the commentary. Yo, respectfully, my man, you could do without fucking watching me. I don't know who you niggas think you be talking to. Let me remind you, I don't give a fuck about this channel. I'm not a YouTube nigga. You got the luxury of me never seeing you. You know what I look like. You understand? You know what I look like. You see me out and about. And all you niggas do is stare or shake my hand. I love it. But stop talking crazy like you compare me to the rest of these fucking putos, bro. These niggas is Willy Wonka niggas, bro. We not the same. These niggas is not outside. They never know where to be found. There's a difference. Pay attention. Read the fucking room, my man. Thank you for watching. I think what they were trying to get to was, yo, I think the feds really wanted you. I think that's what he's getting to here, but we'll go over it. And they're offering you a lot of money. Could that have anything to do with you testifying? Because remember, what we were originally investigating was, are we going to get some information that would corroborate Puerto Rican Righteous's story with Brian Glaze Gibbs' story, that Prince violated his wife, and that's why. Now, Prince could have clearly responded to me and said, yo, Saladin, I would never do no shit like that. I never did no shit like that. But Prince has not done that. Now, maybe he feels like, yo, I'm sort of a big deal. Nigga, I'm Prince. Who the fuck is you? Nigga, it's a new world. This is not 89. As you can see, this is not 92. Content created niggas got power out here with their voice. You understand? So it would have been more wise to tap in with a nigga. Right? Don't look at the YouTube numbers and all of that. That shit will fake you out every time. Like, oh, this nigga's a small voice. Aha. You never know who's paying attention, bro. So I would have tapped in with, at least responded to me. Yo, I see what's going on. I just want everybody to know I would never do no shit like that. You didn't do it. If you do it now, it look like I told you to do it. So don't do it now. You're a very smart man. You should have been did that shit. Y'all would never do no shit like that. You can't just keep repeating Brian is a rat. Everybody know that. So you told us some shit that we already knew, when in fact what we wanted to know is what we don't know, which was, did you participate in gang rape? Nigga, that's all niggas asked. Niggas didn't ask none of this other shit. Your name is right here in the paperwork. Did you participate in this? Yes or no? It was an easy no. Hell no. Fuck no. I would never do no shit like that. For some reason, it did not go down like that. Which, now we're here. Now will it get worse? I don't know. I'm hoping it'll get better before it gets worse. You understand? So, Mr. Karowitz says, you're not detained on any federal charges, correct? Puerto Rican Roger says, no, I'm not. So to use and correct me if I'm wrong at any time, sir. To use common language, you have been down for how long? I have been in custody about 3 years, 4-5 months. When I say you have been down, that means in custody. Is that correct? It means that, yes. So you have been in custody since 1989. Is all the time that you have been in custody based on your experience going to be counted towards your minimum? Yes. Now, with respect to minimum sentences in state court, if you know, once you do the minimum, are you automatically going to be paroled? I have to go before the parole board, and you could be turned down. Yes, he will be turned down. And they could tell you to come back for a presumptive relief date in about, let's say, 2 years. Right? He says exactly. So you could be down on 8 to 16, go before the board at the end of the 8, and they might tell you, come back when you have done 10, right? He says exactly. So would it be fair to say it would be greatly to your advantage to get a smaller minimum? Is that right? He says, of course. So you could get, for example, 4 to 8, right? Go before the board. They tell you to come back in 2 years, and you would be released at the end of 6 on the minimum. It would still be less than a minimum of 8, right? He says, yes. If that would happen, yes. And would it be fair to say that we don't know if it's going to happen? No, it's up to the judge. We ain't the judge. When you say it's up to the judge, let me discuss this with you or ask you this. Based upon your experience with a reasonable degree of certainty, doesn't the district attorney sometimes recommend a sentence for approval by the judge? That's what they say. This is my first time ever, you know. They're supposed to recommend it. That's what they tell me, that they will recommend 8 to 16. But that's what they are saying now. Well, let me read that again. But that's what they're saying now? Puerto Rican Righteous says, yes, that's what I signed to. Cross-examiner, why is it, sir, you haven't entered the plea of guilty? Because I'm testifying today, I'm not finished my cooperation. In the cooperation agreement, is there anything that says you'll only be permitted to plead guilty after you cooperate? No. As a matter of fact, let's assume you plead guilty, fail to cooperate. Would the district attorney's office, Queens County, still be bound by that agreement? Say, give him 8 to 16 anyway? Would that happen? Puerto Rican Righteous says, no, I don't think so. So he says, what do you think would happen? I think they would prosecute me for perjury or something. And who controls whether the agreement is in force or in effect? Righteous says, if I do the right thing, there will be no problem. If I testify truthfully and don't lie, they should hold their agreement. I believe. Do you have a copy of your agreement available? No, I do not. May I ask? The court gets involved. What's the marking on that? Mr. Cattlewitz. 3500-24-5. And it's contained in the volume 4, Your Honor. All right. The witness has the document. I want you to look at the last page of the document. The one with your signature on it, sir. I don't believe it's numbered, sir. Do you have it? Yes. I want you to just review the paragraph that begins in the event. Do you have that? Yes. The court. The document is in evidence. Miss Caldwell. Leslie Caldwell. It is, Your Honor. Mr. Cattlewitz. So it can be read? The court. Certainly. Mr. Cattlewitz. It does indicate in the event the district attorney's office determines that you failed to cooperate, as the term is defined above, this agreement may be terminated at any time upon written notice of such termination to counsel Mr. Pinella, which is Puerto Rican Righteous. It is understood that in that event, the copy of the written notice will be filed with the court, and the pending cases against Mr. Pinella mentioned above will be calendared as the court may deem appropriate. So if you didn't fulfill your agreement, then the 8-16 plea would be off, right? Puerto Rican Righteous says yes. So why haven't you pled guilty? Puerto Rican Righteous says, I don't know. Why don't you ask them? I'm an inmate. I'm in jail. I'm not in charge of going back and forth to court. So therefore, sir, you don't know why you haven't pled guilty, right? Is that fair to say? I don't think my cooperation is over yet. That might be the reason. But to tell you exactly what the reason is, I don't know. The court steps in. All right, let's move along, Mr. Katowitz. Now, on the night of November 4th, 1989, or was it November 3rd, Mr. Pinella? I'm saying the night you got arrested. Puerto Rican Righteous says, I got arrested on that day. The November 89 arrest? At the time of your arrest, you were wearing a bulletproof vest, were you not? Yes, I was. I'm telling you, he did not come to fucking... Listen. Don't try what I tried home. You understand? Because you end up in a sticky situation. Niggas is gangsters, but I'm just letting you know. Fuck all of that, yo. This nigga was a snitch. Okay, keep running your jibs. Keep running your fucking jibs. You niggas is not outside. You're gonna run into one of these niggas and wet your pants. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. Sniggles with the shits. Huh? This is not G-Unit. Huh? We in here. Huh? We can get the drama popping. This ain't that. This ain't none of that marketing shit that come out. This is his real life. He's running around with a bulletproof vest on. 89. Hello. Niggas was doing dance moves in 89. Huh? Father MC was probably out here pleading on chicks' behalf. Treat them like that. I don't even think that was 89. That was early 90s. Chubb Rock was out here telling you to do the right thing, though. Him and Special Ed. You got to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Sidebar, that's when hip hop was beautiful too. Huh? That whole fucking goddamn from like 86 to right before 96 to 86 to 94. Amazing. I'm talking about every facet of hip hop. You had Carl Kanai. Shout out to April Walker. She is bad. Yeah. I'm digging on April Walker. Still to this day. Everybody had an opportunity to talk, right? So the gangsters had the ability to talk, but it didn't matter because you could take that gangster out of your cassette and you could put in somebody else that wasn't really on gangster timing and appreciate their rap. They didn't market it just to the streets, when it became just to the streets. And I remind you, they did that shit so that they could make money. It's called Geo Group. The Geo Group Private Prison System. Hold on. Pretty sure I could bring this shit up right now. Hold on. The Geo Group is a major publicly traded American company that operates private prisons, mental health residential facilities, and immigration detention centers, managing roughly 76,000 beds across a dozen of facilities. It derives a significant portion of its revenue from federal contracts with the U.S. Immigration and didn't I tell you niggas they was in cahoots of getting you the fuck up out of here? You thought I was kidding? You think I don't know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you could subscribe to my channel, huh? If you want the real. These niggas just be talking out their ass just to keep you entertained. But if you want to learn some shit, fuck with your boy. They don't mind being slaves. Niggas out here dancing a jig for fucking YouTube. I don't dance that shit. Fuck these niggas. I still got the spirit of the ancestors around me. That shit infuriates me when I look at us selling out. When all we got to do is stick together. We are the fucking power. If we said next Monday nobody's watching YouTube and Instagram, these niggas would have a fit. Let me tell you the first thing they're going to do. First thing they're going to do is go to the weakest link. Respectfully, they'll show up to a nigga like China Brim, like, yo, I've been watching you, beloved. You way overdue. Let me give you 50,000. Write him a check for 50,000. You know he's on that. He ain't think about it twice. Nigga took that money, Jack. Huh? And now they gonna push his campaign. Yo, when the fuck we gonna listen to this nigga phone? And then that's how they know what to do. So there's always going to be divisiveness against us, even though the answer is so simple. No matter what they come to us with, everybody stay on fucking code. They gonna hate it. Make them niggas bend the knee. Then we threaten them. After that, nigga, do it again. We know what you did, but first time you tried to go to one of us, pay $50. Do it again, and we not watching you for a week. Keep it up. Oh, I think we should just get in the same room and talk it out. Now you think that, but first you thought you was gonna pay one of us off. That's what you thought, because that's what y'all keep doing, and that's why the black man will never come up, because there's somebody that said enough is enough. I just tired, man. I want out of the matrix, man. It is what it is. At the time of your arrest, you were wearing a bulletproof vest, were you not? Puerto Rican writer just said, yes, I was. Cross-examined. At the time you went to basic projects, you were armed with two weapons, a 38 and a 357 Magnum. Is that right? Listen, man. Does this sound like somebody you want to get into an altercation with? This nigga meant business. Whatever he was coming out for, he was coming to do that shit. Wallahi. And again, I can guarantee you, he was not listening to no rap music on the way there. This nigga was probably listening, dance to a night. Don't you wanna dance? Yeah, that's exactly what he was listening to on the way there. He didn't need nobody to gas him up. Nothing. He was probably humming that shit as he closed the door. Don't you want, don't you want, ooh. Ooh, don't you want, Were you out that night to murder someone? Yes, sir. Now, Herman Riley, who Mr. Chedler asked you about, you met him there, and is it your testimony, sir, that he said in words or substance, give me a gun and let me follow you? This fucking story is crazy. Right? He says, that's not exactly right. When I came up, that wasn't just a conversation. I told you, he hung around me. When I said I'm stepping off to something, he said, can I come with you? I'll watch your back. Give me one of the weapons. And I gave him one. I don't know, man. This nigga Righteous was listening to Freddie Jackson smoking woolies. Allegedly. I don't know. I'm just here trying to go over. I'm trying to re-put the fucking puzzle back together. I can see this nigga smoking woolies. Them shits is sparking. Them shits is jumping in the fucking blunt. Huh? He's smoking them shits smooth like fucking Parliament lights. Don't you try that now. Huh? He's smoking them shits like Virginia Slims. What would make him say, yeah. What would make you say yes to this nigga? Has he verified any work? I don't know. When I said I'm stepping off to something, he said, can I come with you? I'll watch your back. Give me one of the weapons. Puerto Rican Righteous gives him one. When you said you were stepping off to do something, were you more specific with Riley? Yes. Like I intend to find one of them, whoever I was looking for. Did you tell Riley I'm going to do somebody tonight? Here? Righteous says, I said, if I see somebody I'm looking for, I'm going to try to kill him. Yes. And Riley wished to accompany you. He wished to watch my back. He wanted to do it. I said, here's the pistol. Niggas be MC Gusto niggas, man. Niggas be CB4 in this shit, blood. Stop. Yo, knock it off, man. This is why we can't be putting pressure on people to be a certain way. It's okay to be yourself, bro. Everybody don't gotta be some fucking tough guy and all this crazy shit, man. It's okay, man. Find you a wife to love on. Keep your credit good. Don't be in a rush to partner up with the opposite sex. A lot of people leave watch when I say this, that, like I give a shit. Anytime I start giving advice, niggas leave because they know the truth hurt. A lot of people right now in situations that is fucked up because neither one of them is shit. Neither one of them is shit. When you get some knowledge of yourself and say, yo, this is my purpose. This is what I'm going to do. Don't say I'm trying to do it. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing. And you start taking steps towards that. Niggas run around with no plan. Just dicks and vagina, man. No plans, no energy to put into nothing else but dick and vagina. and marijuana. This is a cocktail. This is a bad recipe for a bad cocktail, ladies and gentlemen. There should be a plan of something that you do. What is it that you do? What is it you want to do? What do you know how to do? Put that shit to good use. That shit is right in the Bible. It say your gift will make room for you. Well, what's your gift, man? Is your gift giving head? I don't like to use the word bitch, but I'm very enticed in this episode to start because it gives it a different flair. That's all you understand. You don't understand the godly wisdom. So, unless I call you out your name, you really think that's your name, bitch. Keep it up. Out here trying to have kids with random niggas so you can get on government assistance. You fucking up everybody's life. Your life, the kid's life, everybody's life. You're a piece of shit. You are a piece of shit. And this nigga's a piece of shit for even being interested in you. I wouldn't give you the time of day, bitch. The time of fucking day. Fuck you and the sneakers you walk in. Think you gonna come in my world and fuck my shit up? Never. So stop getting involved with piece of shit people. Just hold out, man. Hold out. Get your shit together. Let me ask you, when you say watch your back, exactly what were you expecting him to do? Well, like, say, got in a gun battle and someone would enter into it, he would help me. Approximately what time was this in the projects? Wee hours of the morning. 2 in the morning? 3 in the morning? Yeah, about that. That's when I first got there. About that time. Yeah, I can't call it, bro. I can't even tell you the type of timing this nigga Puerto Rican Righteous is on. He's riding around listening to the Freddie Jackson smoking woolies, allegedly, according to my story. But the real deal is he did pop up in Baisley about 2, 3 in the morning with a bulletproof vest and 2 guns. Yeah, he was on that type of timing, bro. This is before rap song. Niggas is rapping about him in these rap songs. You understand? He didn't have no rap songs to gas him up or no shit like that. Yes, that's when I first got there, about that time. And at this particular point, you had your weapon drawn. Is that right? At that particular point? What particular point is that? I didn't walk around with I didn't walk around the projects with my gun out. Yeah, put these niggas in their place, righteous. Oh, dickhead ass white boy asking stupid questions. Fuck I look like? Imbecile? What are you saying right now? I was just walking around like Elmer Fudd with 2 fucking guns out, dickhead. I withdraw the question because it's confusing. You are right. No duh, he's right. At some point that evening or that early morning, was your weapon drawn? Yo, Puerto Rican Righteous got the best fucking commentary, I swear to God. I'm going to say yes, numerous of times. Again, I don't... This nigga's a gangster, bro. I can't, friend. This nigga's a gangster, bro. This nigga's running around basic projects, whipping out his gun on me. But now don't just Not unnecessarily, you understand? God knows who else he pulled it out. He's talking crazy in niggas' faces with woolly breath. And you tell your man, fuck that nigga. When I catch him. Crazy. At the same time, did Riley have his gun drawn? He says, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't need him. I'm laughing because I know you didn't need him, but I'm just want to know, why did you let this little nigga come with you, bro? It was the beginning of your downfall. He knows that now. Puerto Rican Righteous knows that. But it just wasn't like, why'd you make that decision? He says, I didn't need him. He wanted to tag along. That was his business. No, sir. Let me correct you. That was y'all business now. You could have did this whole shit by yourself. If Herman Riley was on that type of timing, I would know, because I would be talking about Herman Riley right now. Herman Riley was not on that type of timing, sir. He just wanted to get in your good graces. He was praying to God you wouldn't find none of these niggas that you're looking for. And then the next day he could wake up in the mall and run that shit up. You understand? He's outside eating cereal with niggas. Yeah. Me and Righteous was outside looking for niggas last night. Word is bond. Righteous was out here? Yeah, nigga came through, got me. You know what I'm saying? You know I'm not playing. Threw me one of the jammies. When I was looking for these niggas, man. It's not a game, man. He's fronting heavy. You understand? I'm thinking about taking over this little spot right here. Right in front of my grandma's joint. You understand? You mean the whole strip? No, nigga, you not listening. Just right here, nigga. You thinking too far down the road. Just right here. But don't nobody even be over here. See, nigga, you don't got no vision. That's why I don't fuck with you niggas. I just fuck with Righteous. That nigga got vision. He was about the front. Crazy. Say, he just wanted to tag along. That was his business. Cross-examiner. And his is, sir, that you came upon the police or the police came upon you. Righteous. I believe they staking out the area for a drug buy or drug operation. Whatever it was. I'm not sure. It was a lot of them there. Were they in uniform or plain clothes? Plain clothes. And what happened? What happened? I walked into the building and suddenly they came out of the woodwork and I got arrested. What did you do? When I didn't know who they were, I drew my weapon. You drew the weapon? Yes. Did you point it in their direction? Yes. That's crazy. That's crazy that we even having this conversation after he admitted that he did point the gun in their direction. Where was Riley at the time? I don't know. I wasn't with that guy. Was Riley shadowing you? Yes, he might have been. There were other people in the hallway too. He was there probably. Cross-examiner says, I'll help you with this. Your weapon that you drew, a .357 Magnum. Puerto Rican Righteous says yes. Did you need to be cocked, or I don't know how much about that stuff? You just pulled it? He says yes. Was there a safety on it? No safety. On a revolver, you just shoot it. And how many individuals came towards you? Well, when I seen that they were white, I knew they were the police. You know what I'm saying? Question. And you still had the gun drawn? I put it back in my pocket. Just because they were white? Of course, yes. At this point, they arrested you, right? Yes. Do you know if Riley pleaded guilty? That's his business. I don't know. Did he roll on you? What do you mean? Started talking? Yes. Do you know what he said? No. I don't care either. I knew what I was going to say. I was going to tell them myself. I didn't care what he was saying. Again, when he says I was going to tell him myself, we don't know if this means I was going to tell him about Prince and the Supreme Team and all of this stuff. We have to take what is being said at face value, and that is pretty vague. I was going to tell him myself. So, to be honest, we have to take it as the initial situation, which was, yo, I was there to kill somebody, not all this other stuff. Did Riley make some sort of videotape? I heard he made one. And on this videotape, did you know whether or not he admitted that he was there and would have killed an officer? Righteous says, I did not see the tape, never seen it. I know nothing about it. If you're telling me something about it or someone is telling me about it, I don't know whether it's true or not. I've never seen it. Now, how soon after that did you roll? Well, when I slept that night. I believe whenever they woke me up, it wasn't the same day, I believe. Well, it was the same day because of the wee hours later on in that afternoon. So let's just stop right there. So it kind of seems like the story is changing according to Puerto Rican Righteous. He changed the story like 3 times, or maybe 2, right? He told because first it was he told because Riley was telling. Now, because let's keep in consideration, he got arrested 2-3 in the morning. By that afternoon, he said he's already telling. So it's hard for me to believe. He's talking about cooperating. Who are you cooperating against? I guess some of that's about to come out too. So when I do what I do, I'm not specifically against anybody or for anybody. There's no teams, right? When I first started doing this, niggas, oh, you niggas is working for Jimmy. I ignored you stupid Fulio niggas. I don't know Jimmy Henchman. I don't know Prince. I do know Bimmy. But Bimmy wasn't paying me to do the motherfucking thing. He didn't even know I was doing this. I had finished before I even got a phone call and us having a conversation. It was a while after my first episode where he realized I had mentioned him in a good light. He didn't ask me to do none of this shit. I just don't like when you niggas take a piece of the story and turn it into what you want to turn it into because you fascinated by gangsters. And I feel like a lot of you niggas are bitch ass niggas. It's one thing for you to be interested in a gangster's life and be like, yo, that's crazy. It's a whole nother thing for you to jump on this nigga's bandwagon and start polishing his meat and all this other crazy shit. So you taking up for niggas and you don't even know the fucking story. This is why I play it cool. I don't know what happened. I always will say, yo, I don't know what happened, bro. This is you niggas taking up for Prince in my comment section. Prince don't know you. You don't know Prince. Get off that nigga's dick. How about that part? Grown ass man, he could hit me anytime and say, yo, let's have a conversation, Saladin. This is how it really went down. But if you feel like a nigga's beneath you, then you might have read the room wrong. And that's, again, nobody's fault except his. Same way he reached out to Harlem Legend thinking he could help you. Harlem Legend is out for his fucking self. That nigga got the call so fast, yo, back up off of that. And like I promised, he would never do another video. Did the nigga do another video helping Prince? No. Because the call came in. Stay away from that. Niggas be betting on the wrong people. This whole shit could have been cleared up. You reached out to me long ago. Saladin, I ain't do no shit like that, bro. Just letting you know. Then I could have let the people know. Yeah, I spoke to Prince. He said he never did the shit. Being that we don't have no paperwork on that, I said we give it a rest. Right? This puts the responsibility back on the other people who's trying to say that you did such and such. But you panicked and said, I ain't going to say shit. And it is bad when you don't say nothing. Then Brian went on a fucking tirade. Real simple. I did not participate in any type of gang, sexual assault, none of those things. Now, this looks like this is not corroborating Brian Glaze Gibbs' story. Let's just say that. It is not parallel to what Brian has told us about the reason he snitched. It sounded good, though. Let me just keep it 1,000. It sounded like something we all wanted to believe and could have been in the script somewhere, right? Not saying it didn't happen, but we either need, at this point, word from Puerto Rican Righteous or his wife or somebody. Because from the paperwork, well, let's continue reading it. It is not a done deal with what Brian is saying. All I'm saying is he already has started talking the same day. Maybe not on the Supreme Team, but he started talking about something out from his own volition that, I started talking the same day. Right? Just in case for the niggas in the back. It was the same day. There you go. Because of the wee hours later on in that afternoon. When the police arrested you, did they advise you of your rights? Have you have a right to remain silent? Puerto Rican Rights says, but I know all that. I know that from the 70s. Yeah. This nigga's one of them hard-nosed woolly smokers. Hey, he's one of those official street niggas, man. Did they say those things? Because that's all he asked him. He said, I know those things. It's called the Miranda rights, man. He says, yes. Who did they give you to speak to? Puerto Rican Rights says, who did they give me to? Did you speak to the arresting officer? He says, no, I didn't speak to the arresting officer. He says, who did you speak to? He says, I believe they were homicide detectives. When did they come to see you? They were in the precinct when I woke up. I slept. When I woke up, there was a bunch of cops. He's cross-examiner. They started to speak to you? Did they give you your rights? No, they didn't. They arrested an officer. Question. But that was a number of hours before. Yes. What was the first thing that was said to you by homicide? They told me that I was in a lot of trouble. And at one point, did you say to them, if you do your homework, I'll never get out? Yes. I don't understand. This is crazy. This fucking story is nuts. And by this story, I mean Puerto Rican righteous. I need a break. I need a break. Righteous is a gangster, but it doesn't seem like he's that smart. Unless it has to do with gangster shit, right? He may know how to get away with some crimes because he's been doing it for so long. But then again, I don't know. First mistake, why bring fucking Herman Riley? First mistake, why bring Riley? Second mistake, anything you say can and will be held against you in the court of law. He knew that he heard some Miranda rights from the 70s. Apparently, he never knew to shut your fucking mouth. So, was this comment a catcall to, hey, I may be down to clown all around the town if you niggas got something to talk about? Right? Why would you say that? Again, the question from the cross-examiner. And at one point, did you say to them, if you do your homework, I'll never get out? He says yes. Why would you say that to the police? This is crazy. Were you taking any respectful tone to them? If you do your homework, I'll never get out. Righteous says, when I arrived in the bullpen, I know I was in a great deal of trouble. I was popping shit and someone said something, you're never coming out. You know you're in a lot of trouble. I said, if you do your homework, I'll never get out. Okay. That's what I thought it was. That's what I thought it was. Who was it? Rory and Maul. I don't know which one is the black one. I think it's the black one. He had went viral a couple of times for saying some shit that he thought was some real fly shit to say. So he tells a story one time and he's like, I did, me. Chick told me one time she's out with this dude eating. He said, me, I do this old fly shit here. I call the restaurant that they at and I pay for the whole bill. You understand? Now to him, that sounded like some fly shit, right? I guess it was supposed to be like, yo, I don't give a fuck about you. I pay for your meal. Good riddance. More than likely in real life, that's not how it went down. He probably paid for the meal. Both of them was happy. Nigga took her home, spanked her cheeks into oblivion. You understand? She was happier than a shit on flies. Only person that was out was this nigga. About $1,000 for paying for a meal that he should not have paid for. And when trying to do some fly shit or going over the top goes wrong, you understand? In this particular situation, Puerto Rican Rice says, if you do your homework right, I'll never get out. That was not your lines. Maybe the papers fell on the floor. He didn't know whose line was who. But that I could assure you that was not your line. I can assure you that. So the cross-examiner says they say that all the time. Like, that's one of those jailhouse things that you say and shit. Yo, you do your homework, right? I never get out. You know what I'm saying? Letting them know, yo, I got, nigga, they put me under the jail. You understand? If you ask me a question, I'll answer it, but don't keep going on. Question: have you heard that before? What? Question: you are in a lot of trouble. You could help yourself. Have you heard that? Back when I a teenager, but during my criminal career, they never asked that anymore. Again, knowledge itself. He knows who he is. The line: you are in a lot of trouble. You could help yourself. You've heard that before? That's standard? Puerto Rican righteous. They didn't really say that. Homicide detectives didn't say that. They said, listen, you are in a lot of trouble. We heard you were involved in this Colombian killing. Do you know anything about it? I said, yes. If I meet the right people, I'll tell you about it. So there we go. There we go. This apparently he is saying something different. Well, can't say that exactly either. Let's look at this rationally. In 89, he's out on the streets. He's looking for somebody to murder in Baisley Projects. He gets wrapped up in a random drug raid. This is 2-3 in the morning. By that afternoon, give me 1 second, y'all. Hello? All right. Fair enough. Now, we'll get back to that. Yes, with respect to Mr. Bajella, I asked you, okay, meet the right people. I'll tell you about that. We'll get that. All right. So what I'm saying is this. It doesn't appear, and let me start recording. So it doesn't appear that Brian Glaze Gibbs' story is corroborating the paperwork or the story of, Puerto Rican righteous only told because Prince had violated his wife while he was on the run. Let's get to another part of the story. It also doesn't corroborate. Brian says a lot that Bimmy snitched. This is twice he's mentioned Bimmy. So Bimmy is mentioned in the arrest of the house in Queens, right? Where he says, this was in the documentary that Nas had. And it said, and then an individual left the door open. And they said that individual was Bimmy. Wrong. Let me tell you something. The guy who brought the new door for that house is home from jail. He's home from jail. My question to you, dealing with that first arrest, if the barbershop lore and whatever the fuck they put on the Nas documentary, because Nas is listening to these niggas and we know now these niggas will say and do anything on this earth, allegedly, then riddle me this. If somebody left the door open and the feds just walked in, why the fuck is the door off the hinges? That's rhetorical. Because these niggas are lying. That's why. Bimmy never left that fucking door open. They knocked the fucking door down. Bimmy was in the bullpen with them. The nigga who brought the new door, because he didn't get arrested, but he didn't want people walking in and out of that house. So as a favor to them, he put a new door back on the house. You got to watch these Queens boys. These the same niggas that brought down Murder Inc. You got to watch them doing silly shit. Silly business. Fucking $1,000. Not only got himself life, brought down a whole fucking successful record label. Over $1,000. Got Black just murdered. Over $1,000. And you want me to believe that Omar was a snitch because Sosa said so? Nigga, please. What you don't know, I hurt you. Niggas didn't know that the new door had to be put on, right? Stop listening to these niggas, man. Yeah. New door had to be put on. Don't worry. Call me a liar. The guy who brought the new door is home from jail. Easy. Slow everything down. Second time, Brian says, I'm not getting at Brian, by the way. I'm just going off what he's saying because it's not true. He said Prince had the authorities call to get Puerto Rican righteous locked up. Yo, believe what y'all want, right? Now, this is before cell phones. Maybe these niggas was running around with the big ass cell phones calling each other at 2 o'clock in the morning. Maybe they was. But I find it hard to believe that Bimmy, someone the police keep asking about in this paperwork, do you know this guy? If you know this guy, why the fuck are you at? If he helped you, no. Like the paperwork is saying, Puerto Rican righteous wasn't even supposed to really be in this project. He was out here to go kill some niggas. Jump Out Boys is just doing what they do. The projects is hot. Why wouldn't this projects be under surveillance, by the way? Is there any good reason that in 89 any of you think that Baisley projects would not be under surveillance? Give me one good reason why this particular projects would not be under surveillance. These niggas are on fire up in here. It's getting hot up in here. So of course they're under surveillance. They needed Bimmy for that? Y'all buying this shit? Nah. You know what it is? Everybody else was getting high, disrespecting life, disrespecting their purpose in life. This nigga went off, got with Run DMC. Huh? He's out here having sex with all type of R&B chicks. They don't like that shit. Because they feel like, nigga, you wasn't even the most gangster. How the fuck is you ending up in magazines and all of this shit out of all of us? Niggas put in way more work than you. So they did the grimy shit. I know it all too well. It come with the territory. And just start talking shit on your name. That shit come with the territory, Jack. I know it all too well. And to me, it's bitch ass nigga shit. You understand? You got a problem with me, man. Please punch me in my mouth, shoot me, stab me, do something, nigga. But you niggas, there's a nigga that had a problem with me. He went behind my back and told somebody I was talking about him to fuck up the relationship. This is bitch ass nigga shit, right? He's not the type to see me to do anything about it. He's the type to peep me and then go in the other direction. So the best thing to do is I'm going to fuck up your situation. But like they say, what God have for you, no man could curse anyway. So all you got to do is chill out, baby. Relax. This niggas fuck niggas moves can't make no difference in your life. Just stay the course, stay true. So, to clear that up, that Nas documentary where y'all thought y'all was doing something by keeping Bimmy out of it, which whack because you did. I don't give a fuck if that's what you thought. You should have kept it. You should have put him in it. But you didn't because you was riding Prince's nuts. Fine. Now to find out these niggas is lying about the situation. And if I'm not insane allegedly. I say lying. Do something about it. Because the nigga who brought the doors home. So why would they have to knock a door down that was left open? Which one is it? This is just mathematics. You either build or destroy. Which one was it, nigga? Was the door left open or was the door knocked off its hinges and somebody had to buy a new door? Now they saying Bimmy called the police on Puerto Rican righteous. How? This niggas out here freeballing from minute to minute with fucking Herman Riley. They don't know what they doing. Fucking Freddie Jackson playing in the back. Woolies is being smoked. How? 2 a.m. He's walking around with a 38 and a 357 Magnum. And we gonna blame that on Bimmy? You niggas gotta stop the fuckery, bro. Please. Out of Puerto Rican righteous's own mouth, he said, yes, if I meet the right people, I'll tell you about it. This is the same goddamn day he was picked up. Same 24 hours. Lawyer says, we'll get back to that. Righteous says, yes. With respect to something Mr. Batchelor asked you, do you know, sir, yes or no, whether the Federal Bureau of Investigation in connection with your family relocation expenses has given your family $20,335? Would you know? I wouldn't know that. Why would I know that? Do you know that? Puerto Rican righteous. No, I do not know anything about amount of money, what they do with my family. New question, sir. Just answer yes or no. The court, if you can. Cross-examiner. Do you speak to your wife, sir? Every Saturday. Yes. Now, to be fair, I really thought this might be the payday right here. I thought, okay, he's going to say this happened. He didn't. Every Saturday. Yes. Cross-examiner gets pissed off. He says, yes or no, sir. Do you know whether the Federal Witness and Security Program has given your family $4,946? Puerto Rican righteous. I told you before, I believe they gave her $5,000 to move. I don't know if that's exactly what you're talking about, but I know they gave her $5,000. Do you know whether the New York State Witness Security Program has given your wife $25,642? I couldn't tell you. She was in their custody first for a number of years. What? This story got crazy. What the fuck are we talking about? The FBI? There's so much I don't understand. Puerto Rican righteous, I need you to tap in, call in, because this story is sounding crazy. Your wife was working with the feds first? It says she was in their custody first for a number of years. I don't know if that expense overall all those years. I don't know. But she was with them for 2 years first. Oh, that might be a clue. That might be a clue. That might be a clue. Why was Puerto Rican's righteous's wife working with the feds. By the way, that ain't no money anyway. The court. Just wait for the next question. Next question. What ain't no money? Puerto Rican righteous. $25,000 to take care of you for 2 years? With 2 kids? She wasn't like living like a queen. She probably barely survived. Cross-examiner. I'm saying in total, we are talking about $50,000. Is that correct? Puerto Rican righteous. You act like this is a piece of cake. It's not. You could give her a whole life. You can give your whole life up, you know? Question. Cross-examiner. Yes or no, sir? Just yes or no answers. You have spoken with her about some of the money she has received? I asked her that one time and she said she needed money because she couldn't pay the rent, her rent. I asked them if they could relocate. I don't need no money from my family. She don't send me no money. Well, if additional sums of money in addition to the sums I have just mentioned to you were needed, do you know whether or not that there would be a way to get it? Puerto Rican righteous. Like I told the FBI in New York State when I made the agreement with them, they say they would take care of my family. I don't ask for nothing. If my kids need something, if they're sick, I'll ask them. That's who I got the agreement from. Did you take care of your family before you were in custody? I tried to. How? And this is one of the realest. I'm not going to lie. This story, he seems genuine to me. And again, I haven't heard from him saying that's why he decided to tell. Even though I did read another article. I might bring that article up. But that article is hearsay versus this government document that was recorded, everything that was going on in the court. This is 6 transcripts from the court that happened. That's why I want to talk to Puerto Rican righteous myself. But this right here was interesting. He says, how? Puerto Rican righteous says, whenever I got money, I gave them money. But you mainly got money by committing crimes. Is that correct? Puerto Rican righteous says, yes. That's what I do for a living. Cross-examiner says, that is your business? Puerto Rican righteous says, well, for the past 15 years, yes. Whereas you said yesterday afternoon, homicide is your line of work? Puerto Rican righteous says, that was my line of work when I came home from 86, involved into that. Yes. God damn. That's why I'm kind of confused. Right? So, his line of work was homicide in 86. Right? They hired him more than likely because he puts down the murder game. Let me ask you guys something. And obviously this is rhetorical. This is just what's running through my head. Would you? No, you wouldn't. It's not even fair for me to ask you that. So let me just tell you what I'm thinking. I just find it hard to believe. Not saying it didn't happen. That somebody in their right mind would rape somebody's wife, that they know is a fucking killer. What is going through your head? Like, you know how he gives it up for a fact. If this is true, you have a cocktail of demons who needed to be off the street. Not one or two niggas. You had a bunch of niggas that needed to be off the street. Shout out to Leslie Caldwell. The NYPD. Yeah. I gotta say it because y'all not gonna say it because y'all on some real nigga time and yo, fuck the police. Nigga, if it wasn't for the police, who knows what your neighborhood will look like? Wallahi. There got to be some type of balance. It can't be a outbreak of murder, infestation, and rape, and nobody is there to put it back in place. Obviously, you niggas too scared to say anything, so y'all just gonna help normalize the behavior, because that's what y'all do as scared individuals. Y'all don't speak up. Y'all don't say the right thing. Y'all may know the right thing to say, but you on some fake keep it real shit. Like all of y'all is gangsters. All of y'all is out here. No, a few of these niggas is living like that. Not everybody. But you conform to the few niggas. Nah, this nigga's a gangster. That's how we should all live. Who's we, nigga? What? That was my line of work when I came home from 86, involved into that. Yes. Now, yesterday you indicated that between November 4th of 89, the arrest, and after the time that you left the Baisley Projects and went to live in Rockaway. Are you familiar with the period of we're talking about? Okay, these are some more clues. This is good. This is good. So he got arrested. Like I said, he's not out the woods yet. Prince is not out the woods yet. Doesn't mean that it could not have happened. But him telling because he did that, it's hard for me to believe that, because in the paperwork it says you told the first day. Doesn't mean that you weren't on the run, and while you were on the run, you could have did that. November 4th of 89, the arrest, and after that time you left the Baisley Projects and went to live. So obviously, how is that possible? Was there bail? Had to be some type of bail, no? Let me read this again. Now, yesterday you indicated between November 4th of 89. That's the day of the arrest. The arrest. And after the time that you left, it says after the time that you left Baisley Projects. Okay. So I see what's going on here. He didn't word this correctly. This is like a fuckboy ass lawyer. He really should have said, after the time that you left Baisley Projects and went to live in Rockaway, between after the time that you left Baisley Projects and went to live in Rockaway and November 4th. That's what he should have said. Puerto Rican Rising says, no. Like I told you before, I never lived in Baisley. I just came and worked there every day. Did there come a time in 1980 9 where you decided that you want to stay away from Baisley? Is that right? At the end of summer? He says yes. First week of August, I believe. And then you went back on November 4th in early hours of the morning seeking to kill somebody? And he says yes. We got a few more minutes to go. Now, between that time, you were staying in the house. Once in a while, you were going to Staten Island. Is that correct? Yes. And you indicated yesterday that you were trying to look for someone over there. Do you recall testifying to that? Yes, I did. And when you were asked looking for what kind of thing, you indicated the transcript page 1053. Someone tried to get me to snatch this kid that had a lot of money. So I was going to try to do that. Now, Mr. Panilla, we're arranging to kidnap someone? Yes. Who? One drug dealer asked me to kidnap another drug dealer. Who? This kid from Staten Island. What is his name? I don't know. Had a 5%er name. Really a guy from Queens who introduced me to him. What was his name? Who was the man who wanted you to kidnap somebody else? A drug dealer from the projects wanted me to snatch his rival. It's a dirty game. It's a dirty game out there. I could take all his money. I needed money. That's what I was going to do. That's what I was going to do. What was the name of the man that you were going to perform the kidnapping for? I don't know. He had a 5%er name. It wasn't important. I was going to do a crime. All right. So clearly, he knows who the fuck the guy is. But he's not going to say. So he's not snitching on that guy in this particular case. So he's like, I snitch with a purpose. Those guys have nothing to do with this, right? He can give up their names and get more, but he's like, nah, I'm giving you information on these 4 Colombians. That's who you want information on. That's what I'm giving. Never mind all the god bodies that was out here. AZ says something must have got in this because we all became sinners. Yeah, accurately, AZ, correct. God bodies lost the way. Who was the person who was going to be the victim of kidnapping? He says some guy they pointed out. Where did he point him out? In the projects. Which projects? I think it's Manor Projects. I'm not familiar with that project in Staten Island. I don't recall the name of the person who wanted you to kidnap somebody. He says you don't recall the name of the person who you wanted to kidnap somebody. I know Frank Nitty. Frank Nitty from Queens. He told me he's the one that took me out. Frank Nitty is his real name? I don't believe so. That's one of those untouchable names, right? That's his name. That's the guy's name. In all fairness, I think we all know Frank Nitty. I know Frank Nitty growing up. It was my man. I was in math class with him. You understand? He was originally from Brooklyn, then he moved down to Mount Vernon. It's my man. His brother's name is Bugsy. I shit you not. I shit you not. That's his name. That's the guy's name. Who was the guy you were supposed to snatch? He introduced me to the guy with the 5%'er's name who wanted me to kidnap somebody. Now, with respect to this kidnapping, what did you do after you got the identity of the party that you wanted to kidnap? What did you do, sir? Well, we found out where he lived, watched his house. Seemed like he never went there, you know? How did you find out where he lived? From the guy. Did you go to the house? And did you surveil the house? Yes, from the corner. Would it be fair and reasonable that you had an agreement to commit a crime? Is that right? I didn't have an agreement. What do you mean agreement? It was up to me. Did you agree with the guy that wanted you to do the kidnapping that you would do it? Yes or no? I told him I would think about it. I would do it if I want. And did you take a step in furtherance of that crime by surveilling his house? Yes, I did. Now, you have had 2 years of college? Almost. Wow. I wasn't expecting that one, Puerto Rican Jesus. Puerto Rican, not Jesus, Puerto Rican Righteous. Puerto Rican Righteous did 3 semesters in college? And a little bit of law? A little bit of law. I've been in the criminal system for a while. Well, sir, an agreement. Right. Touche. Touche, Puerto Rican Righteous. Well, sir, an agreement to commit crime and an act in furtherance of that agreement, isn't that a conspiracy, sir? Yes, I think so. You are the lawyer. Did you combine, conspire, and confederate with someone to kidnap this other person? Yes, sir. That's what I was doing. I was a criminal. And the overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy is that you surveilled that person's house? Yes. So who's the name of the person you conspired with? I don't know. He's a drug dealer. I didn't go up and ask him his name. You know, he's just another drug dealer. I'm going to stop there, ladies and gentlemen. We did good today. We did good today. I did this for, again, I got a lot of different content coming out. I just dropped a new audio book, chapter 1 today. The Static Between Us. I have a debate with Captain Tazariak on Sunday. So I don't stick on one topic, right? This topic here, it interests me, but not in the sense of, I'm going to go viral and use. No, it's just one of those things that interests me, and I said I'll do it. I can only work on things that I'm interested in, and but I know people will have enjoying the conversation, and it is also a chance to teach people. Teach people what? Well, anybody can get up here and say anything, but the thing is, because they say it with confidence, it doesn't mean they're correct, and you guys gotta stop taking people's word for bond because they did time in jail, they're from the hood. Nigga, we're all from the hood. And I thought the purpose of doing crime was to get away with it. Exactly when we started praising the nigga who got shot instead of respecting the shooter, and exactly when we started praising the niggas who got locked up for the crime instead of the people who got away with it is, I don't know when this happened. I don't care. But we have to stop the silly shit, please. Niggas running around saying anything. Okay, I'll be the one who put things in perspective. I love to do that. Make you think. Just because you want to see somebody as a snitch doesn't mean it's true. Right? Prince didn't answer, but that don't mean he didn't answer whether he was involved in that whatever they said he was involved in. He didn't ever answer. Doesn't mean it's true. So when you call him a tree jumper and all this other stuff, yeah, he's going to go to YouTube and say you defamed his character because there's nothing there saying that he did. Now, if you want the truth, you could dig a little bit deeper. You got to get on your Sherlock Holmes shit. And you probably get it. But stop being lazy ass content creators. Knock it off. Put some research into whatever you're doing. Now, in the comment section, I have the link to my last album. And I also have a link to my fucking donation. Whatever it is you want to give. Huh? $1, $100. People have given from 1 to 100. It's on you. Secondly, I did an album. I'm working on a new album now, but I did an album. It's a jazz and funk album called Funk and Love. That link is also there. You can listen to the album, but I would kindly respect. A lot of you guys are listening to the album and you're not buying the album. If you enjoy the album, buy the album. It's $9.99. Shout out to the people who are buying the album and even paying more than what I asked for the album. Right? The album is 25 songs for $9.99. I've had people pay $20 just for the fucking album. So shout out to you people. That's going to be my time today. I'm probably going to leave you with one of my new joints off my album. Off my new album. This is not released yet. Let's see what we got here. I played one song already. Oh, I like this one right here. No, I like this one. I like a lot of these. Eeny, meeny. We're going to go with this one right here. Nah, we're not. Front. Let's go with this one right here. Thank you. You guys have a good day.